the series. This is ladder 19. It's quite a number. Thank you for joining us wherever you are. We appreciate you. We say thank you for always, always coming, every second Friday of the month to join us. And then I can assure you that you are going to enjoy that of today. It's a special one. I can say that to you. And also remember that we are streaming live. We're streaming live via YouTube. So and this program is being recorded. It's being recorded. So just to let you know that. Tonight we are going to be connecting several dots. Yes, we're going to be connecting several dots and talking about dots. It's quite important to say that today, it's the program for today actually looks back connecting the dots, and then to actually see what I'm about, what I'm trying to explain to you is what one of the finest entrepreneur businessman in the name of Steve Jobs. We all know him, and that's a former CEO of Apple. And what did he say? He says that you can't connect the dots looking backward. You can only connect them looking, you can't connect the dot looking forward. Excuse me. You can only connect them looking backward. So you have to trust that the dot will somehow connect in the future. Back 2014 and fast forward 2024, we're connecting the dots looking backwards. And then to start the program, I will actually want to invite our chairman opening remarks. And before it comes on, please kindly mute yourself, one. And number two, when the time for question and answer comes in, you can use the chat box, you can raise your hand, but I will let you know, or you can send a message. The lecturer, engineer Frederick Fidelis Corridors will be saying that when that comes in for the Q&A. All right, to start straight away, I will be inviting the chairman of the program, that's Professor Olufemi Adetunji, to give us his opening remarks. Professor, you can unmute and give us your remarks, a Google message.
Thank you very much, sir.
Yeah.
Can I confirm if everyone can hear me, please?
Yeah, I can hear you. I guess everybody too. Yes.
Thank you. I think I have the honor of welcoming everyone to the 19th edition of this lecture series. And in particular, before greeting everyone, I will want to welcome and the special guest of honor, Mr. Abdullahi, from the DG of NISDA, to welcome Professor Lisa Simon, who is the chairperson of the SAP African Board of Academics in Africa, who studied in the University of Cape Town, to which many other universities in Africa, including the University of Ibadan and my own school, the University of Pretoria, subscribe. And to also welcome the speaker, Engineer Fidelis Okoroje. Thank you so much for honoring our invitation to speak. And welcome the indefatigable head of department of the Industrial and Production Engineering Department of the University of Ibadan, Professor Oladoku. If there is someone that's from the very first day I've known him, I know to always get the job done anywhere, that is Professor Oladoku. Thank you for all your efforts in the department, despite the difficulties the educational system faces. I see the department soldiers on every day, trying very hard and breaking new grounds. Thank you for all your efforts. And thanks to all the other staff members of the department that have been very supportive. I welcome also all the elders and fathers in the house, the professors that taught us. I'm not sure if anybody know. I'm also an alumni of this department. So many of the professors that taught us to become who we are today, we thank you. And we appreciate all the effort you still put in to produce many other people. Without wasting time, all protocols observed, I believe the topic we have before us tonight is apt. And it's important, it's very relevant. If we look into the future, where we believe the opportunities lie massively, this is what we're exploring today. It's interesting when industrial engineers are gradually being introduced to the enterprise systems because it gives us an opportunity to begin to break new grounds, to see what many people are not able to see. Because as we start understanding in more details the opportunities offered by the enterprise systems, particularly the convergence of many technologies today, what we call the operational technology and the information technology. And today, what I would probably call the optimization technology, which I believe is the main thing that is still lacking. There is massive opportunity for industrial engineers in particular. For the whole world, yes. For everybody in the technical field, yes. But if you're not going to deny, we know the software industry is the main sector leading development in most other areas of the world today. And that is why we will see that most recent innovations we know of are pioneered in the software industry. The hardware only becomes like a support industry for the software industry. And I tell many people that the biggest advantage we have as industrial engineers is we are the branch of engineering that our work focuses a lot more on the soft part than the hard compared to all the other engineers. So I believe this new window of opportunity opening up in artificial intelligence and industrial Internet of Things is a big opportunity for industrial engineers. And I do hope we will find a lot of ways to leverage it. One thing in particular that I will mention before I will allow the speaker to go on is, if one looks at the industrial Internet of Things stack, usually most people conceptualize it to be of 5 layers. At the bottom, you have the PLC layer, followed by the SCADA layer, followed by the MES, Manufacturing Execution Systems layer, followed by, at the top, the ERP layer and the cloud layer. Industrial engineers are the main engineering group that work at the MES layer, which is the least understood area, in my opinion, and gives the biggest opportunity for innovation. So when we see industrial engineers gradually going into automation and artificial intelligence on the platform of ERP systems, a new window is being opened where we can start birthing new entrepreneurs, people with novel ideas. I told people many times that all what we call artificial intelligence and predictive analytics today has majorly focused on the area of what we in industrial engineering call forecasting, and at best, cluster analysis. So many other areas we do in optimization does not seem to have been captured in the opportunities that are there. And that is a big window for us. Because while you see most other engineers that are our colleagues work more in the lower end of the double IoT stack, in SCADA area where you will see electronics, chemical, and such people, or our sister professionals like from information systems work more in the area of cloud solutions and ERP. We, the industrial engineers, are the master of the MES layer that most others don't understand much. And this gives us big opportunity to have a level of innovation and optimization that has not been imagined. I've done this many times with Professor Ladokun when we were in a meeting, that I was talking to some of our other colleagues that, look, many times what you call automation, optimization, we simply call automation. In industrial engineering, we separate automation from optimization because optimization is data-driven. Automation is technology-driven. This is the main area where I believe industrial engineers have an unprecedented advantage in the future over most other areas. So what we are going to be learning about today is very, very relevant, because I believe we are just beginning to get into a new window of opportunity that many people in the world could leverage, and particularly those of us in this field of industrial engineering. So I'm not sure we could have better speech or lectures in recent time than what we want to listen to today, the convergence of artificial intelligence on ERP systems. So it is with joy, therefore, that I introduce or welcome us to this presentation by our fellow industrial engineers that has been working in this field, that will be telling us what is going on. And I do hope it's going to open up the mind of many of us to be able to think of where we could leverage and innovate. Because I believe we have big opportunity not only to revolutionize the future, but create a future for ourselves and for our profession. Thank you so much for the lecture. I am also looking forward to it. Thank you all for everyone that has come. I hope you would enjoy it as much as I'm hoping to. You must have a beautiful day.
All
Thank
right,
you,
thank
Mr.
you.
Speaker.
Thank you so much, Prof. All right, just a minute. We have, I need to bring in the special guest of honor right now. And then that is the DG of NITDA, that is the National Information Technology Development Agency. I think they oversee and implement IT policy all over Nigeria, and they are an arm under the Ministry of Communication and Digital Economy, so IT arm, they are the one in charge. So anything IT in Nigeria, you have to speak about or talk to them. So it's good that we are speaking to the right people in this meeting. And to represent him is Dr. Bakari. Dr. Bakari will be standing in for Mr. Abdullahi. And then Dr. Bakari, please, can you come on? Dr. Odili Bakari. Yes, you can share your screen. Yeah, thank you, sir. Yeah. Right, you're live, sir. You can, yes.
Okay, thank you very much, our moderator. Before I start, I want to confirm, can everybody hear and see me well?
Sure. Yes.
Okay, thank you very much for that feedback. The chairman, Professor Olufemi Adetunji, the host, Professor Victor Oladokun, the guest of honor, Professor Lisa Samore, the moderator, of course, I've mentioned you earlier, Dr. Bio Obadairo, our guest speaker, Mr. Fidelis Ikoreje, other professors and doctors here present, and participants. A very good evening to you all, and thank you for inviting the DG NITDA to this auspicious event. Just like I was introduced, I am Dr. Ayodele Bakari, and I'm currently the head of the Digital Technology Development Division at the National Information Technology Development Agency. It's a government agency, just like it was described by the moderator. It's a government agency saddled with responsibility of regulating and developing IT in Nigeria, and also ensuring an effective and inclusive digital economy for Nigeria. And my role as the head of the Digital Technology Development Division saddles me with the responsibility, to ensure effective adoption of digital technologies by individuals and organizations in Nigeria. And this also includes, the adoption of enterprise resource planning solutions, because we see ERP solutions as one of the most efficient and cost-effective way for organizations to use digital technologies, to achieve their business goals and objectives. That is through integration and centralization of business applications, business process management, optimization and automation, centralization of user and security management, data warehousing, dashboarding, and many more. And I'm here representing the DG NIDDA in the person of Malam Kashifu Inua. He actually wanted to participate in person, but due to the exigencies of other responsibilities, he couldn't make it. And for this, he sends his most sincere apologies. However, he handed me his speech, to read to this gathering in an attempt to fulfill his responsibility at this event. So therefore, kindly permit me to read the DG's speech. As the Director General of the National Information Technology Development Agency, it gives me great pleasure to extend my warmest greetings to all attendees of this event titled The Future of ERP, Industry 4.0, Automation and the Evolving Role of Professionals. In an era marked with unprecedented technological advancement and digital transformation, the role of ERP systems has become increasingly pivotal in driving efficiency, productivity, and innovation across industries. As we navigate the complexities of Industry 4.0, which is characterized by the convergence of digital technologies, automation, and data-driven decision-making, academia and professionals must adapt and evolve in tandem with these transformative changes. This alumni lecture serves as a vital platform for industry stakeholders, experts, and professionals to convene and deliberate on the evolving landscape of ERP systems and the dynamic role of academia and professionals within this context. By exploring topics such as automation, artificial intelligence, cloud computing, and the Internet of Things, participants will gain invaluable insights into the future trajectory of ERP systems and their implications for organizational strategies, operations, and workforce dynamics. At NIDDA, we recognize the critical importance of fostering a culture of digital innovation and capability building to propel Nigeria towards becoming a globally competitive digital economy. And as such, initiatives aimed at enhancing the adoption of digitalization of ERP systems are in line with our strategic roadmap for advancing Nigeria's digital transformation agenda. We are committed to supporting initiatives that promote skills development and capacity building among academia and professionals to effectively harness the potential of ERP systems in driving sustainable growth and development. We want to build a technology research ecosystem and strategic partnerships targeted at empowering academia and professionals. Furthermore, NIDDA remains steadfast in its commitment to promoting the future of ERP, Industrial 4.0, automation, and the evolving role of academia and professionals. I commend the Department of the Industrial and Production Engineering of the University of Ibadan for their foresight and convening this timely and relevant lecture. And I extend my sincere appreciation to the guest speaker, that is talking about Fidelis Ikoreje, for sharing his wealth of experience in the field. I hope the future of ERP, Industry 4.0, automation will be shaped in the digital economy era. May this lecture serve as a catalyst for meaningful dialogue, collaboration, and innovation as we collectively chart the course towards a more prosperous and digitally enabled future. I wish you all from the academy and the industry space a fruitful and enriching experience on the future of ERP, Industry 4.0, and automation. Thank you very much indeed, for your attention and audience.
All right, thank you so much, sir. So we I need to just bring one Professor Lisa Simon now. I think she's online.
Yes, I'm here.
Yeah, Prof, yeah, you can. Yeah, the
Okay.
floor is yours, please. Yes.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So
Yeah.
yes, chairperson, guests, our guest speaker, and our guest. I'm honored that you invited me to this talk to wish our speaker well. I'm from the University of Cape Town. I'm the chair of the SAP African Academic Board. And I have fond memories of when I came to Ibadan to start this program. It was about 10 years ago. And I'm just amazed at what has been done at the University of Ibadan. I, I think you were given some of these statistics. You know, this course, many of the other universities have been struggling. It's not easy to teach students enterprise systems. It is firstly, there are a lot of technical terms. There are a lot of business understanding. So the computer science students struggle. The business students struggle with the technology. But that's really something that's so valuable in industry because industry is needing people that understand business and technology and understand the real applications that are used in that space. And what Ibadan, the University of Ibadan has done so well is incorporated across multiple disciplines, industrial engineering, agricultural economics, computer science. And very few other universities in Africa have done that. Their pass rate has been amazing. I think it's over 80%. I think they've trained over 700 students since then, and it's just so wonderful that they have an alumni who's been through this program. The program helped him. He's now working in industry and about to give his talk. It's always wonderful as a professor when you see your old students doing well in industry. And these alumni events are wonderful in that they can bring university and industry together. So I really want to acknowledge all of you for running this alumni program. It's a wonderful initiative. I'm not going to say a lot more other than to wish the speaker well and to just congratulate the University of Ibadan for the program and how well they've worked it. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Prof. All right, okay, just before we're actually nearing the lecture, just before we do that, I will be playing a video. Thereafter, Engineer Anthony Omoni will read the citation, and then we go into the just a minute, please. We go into the lecture proper. All right, okay. So this is. Okay. So, Engineer Anthony, I think you can read the citation. Engineer Anthony Omoni, can you read the citation, please?
Hello, good evening. Can you all hear me?
Yes, yes, you can.
Yeah, I'll be reading the citation of Fidelis Ikoreje. Fidelis Ikoreje is an experienced SAP functional consultant specializing in the implementation, customization, and testing of SAP solutions, particularly in S/4HANA MM, SD, and SAP GRC. Holding a bachelor degree in industrial and production engineering from the University of Ibadan, Fidelis began his journey into SAP in 2021 through the SAP Young Professional Program, YPP, where he received comprehensive training in SAP HANA and SAP Araba. Following his YPP experience, he joined Infotech Risk Security Limited, a technology consulting firm that specializes in SAP security, governance, risk, and compliance solutions. Despite his functional SAP background, he quickly adapted to SAP security and became an integral part of the team implementing and supporting SAP access and process control solutions, leveraging his dual expertise in SAP functional processes. Currently, Fidelis is actively engaged in his most significant SAP project as a SAP UAT analyst for JCB, contributing to the project Bonneville, a global SAP rollout spanning dozens of countries across 4 continents, which will impact the daily business operation of over 30,000 users. Embracing cloud technology as part of his ongoing professional development, Fidelis holds a relevant SAP professional certificate, including S/4HANA, Cloud Public Implementation, SAP System Security and Authorization, SAP Access Control, Ariba Sourcing and Procurement. Beyond his SAP career, Fidelis Ikoroje is a proficient writer who has supported international companies through his writing skills since his penultimate year at the University of Ibadan, having trained over 30 university graduates in copywriting, with many pursuing it as a full-time career. He is dedicated to sharing his knowledge and expertise as a SAP professional and a writer. Married to Oluwadamilola, a physics graduate of the University of Ibadan, Fidelis is a proud father to a 2-year-old daughter. He attributes his ability to deliver a lecture on the future of ERP to the inspiration he received from his lecturers, including Professor Victor Ladukun, Dr. B.O. Odedairo, among others, who taught and introduced him to SAP through the SFR University Alliance program. It is my singular honor and privilege to introduce our guest speaker, my friend and classmate, Fidelis Ikoroje, for the 19th Alumni Lecture Series. Thank you.
Okay, all right, Engineer Anthony Omoni. So, without wasting time, so I will call on Engineer. I'll, 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 I'll do all your names. Frederick Fidelis Ikoroje. The lecture and the floor is yours. Thank you. Yes, thank you. Maybe, can you unmute yourself, please? You are still muted. Yeah, you are muted, please.
All right. Thank you so much. I believe everyone can hear me now.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, good evening, everyone. First, I want to appreciate and honor the special guest of honor, a person of Mr. Kashifo Abdullahi, ably represented by Dr. Ayodele Bakari, and the chairperson, Professor Olufemi Adetunji, from the University of Pretoria, South Africa, delivered a great lecture on introduction to the subject. And the guest of honor, Professor Lisa, the chairperson of SFR, University Alliance Program, and the Professor Victor Oladokun, our distinguished hosts for today, the moderator and my teacher, Dr. Bio Odadairo, all the distinguished lecturers in the house, people that taught me, and my colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, I want to say a good evening from here. I'm so happy to be here today and given the opportunity to actually deliver this lecture. It's like homecoming for me, and looking at it, connecting the dot backwards, like Dr. Dedairo said. My journey actually started from the University of Ibadan all through, and even my career in SAP, I can say. But I want to say that it's an honor to deliver this lecture, and I want to believe that I'll be able to deliver value, and we'll draw insights from this lecture. And after it, I'll probably say a little about my journey from UI, but first I will deliver my lecture. So thank you, everyone, and I want to welcome you for listening in advance and say thank you. So right away, I will start my lecture. Let me share my screen. All right, I believe everybody can see my screen at this moment. The future of ERP, Industry 4.0, automation, and the evolving role of professionals is actually very long, but then I had to choose this topic because of the trend of things and technology at this very point in time where we are. And I chose the whole ERP market, even though I am SAP biased, but I believe we're going to deliver, we're going to derive value from this lecture. So we are actually dealing with the convergence of technology. This is my outline. First, I will begin by talking about understanding ERP and its importance. I'll talk about its evolution, then the integration with Industry 4.0, which is the fourth industrial revolution, and the use cases of those technologies. I'll talk about the value potential. What can we derive from this? Then the trends in automation and trends in innovation. I'll take a case study of Nestle. Then I'll look at modern ERP roles, skill sets, and the way to upskill. Then I'll close with challenges and solutions to the adoption of modern ERP. All right. So first, understanding ERP. What is ERP? It is simply defined as enterprise resource planning. So enterprise resource planning is actually a comprehensive software of business solutions that integrates the necessary processes that a business needs to survive or to run the operation. And ERP covers different parts of a business. It supports automation of a business from procurement to finance to human resources to manufacturing, supply chain, services, asset management, sales and development, even research and engineering. So basically, every part of the ERP integrates every part of a business. And then in modern day businesses, we discover that it is difficult to actually survive and most importantly, scale if you don't have an underlying ERP, a robust one, actually supporting your business. ERP is important to businesses, and that's why we are looking at it today. And the definition I just gave is from SAP, which is one of the foremost and biggest enterprise resource planning company or vendor. Now, I'll straightly go to my next slide because I have other things I'm going to cover that will be related to this place. Now, why is ERP important? Enterprise resource planning, why is it important to businesses? Because the focus actually today is businesses. Why is it important to businesses? Because businesses affect our everyday life. The products churned out from businesses affects the way we live and interact with ourselves. So why is it important? Many people have the opinion that ERP, which is enterprise resource planning, is the nervous system, the central nervous system of an enterprise. Just like our body has its own central nervous system, the nervous system, the central nervous system of an enterprise is actually ERP. Why? Because a business cannot, if a business is actually massive, for it to grow and scale, it cannot survive without ERP. Now, why is ERP important? First, I would say the most singular or the most important feature of any ERP system is actually its shared database. Today, we see companies that are large. They have different departments, like I mentioned earlier, from manufacturing to sales to operations to research and development, to asset management. If a company or a business doesn't have its processes integrated or share a central database, you'll discover that there will be silos operations, disconnected and disjointed operations of the business. Sales does not understand what procurement is doing. Sales does not understand inventory. Inventory doesn't understand other parts of the business. So it's very difficult for the business to progress. But when there's what we call a shared database, otherwise called a single source of truth, every part of the business have visibility and share a singular data that drives the organization forward. Let me give us a simple example of this. For instance, a customer wants to order a product and they place an order. You discover that in modern day businesses that use ERP, even from the place of placing an order, the customer has visibility to the back office of the organization, meaning they know what is available on the market and the shop floor, or in the inventory. So, but if there's a shared database, the customer can place an order for a product and people in sales will actually confirm that order, confirm the pricing and quotes with real-time insights and data from inventory management, meaning sales don't need to visit inventory physically to actually get to know what they have in their store. So sales can confirm orders based on real-time shared data that they have with inventory. And of course, when the order is fulfilled, when there's fulfillment, inventory itself can derive data from the buying behavior of the user and then optimize inventory as possible. So it is integration. That's actually the right word that SAP uses. Business processes needs to be integrated. And of course, once sales is made, sales affects finance automatically. Once sales has been made, accounts are balanced, payables are recorded, reconciliation happens. Finance accountants don't really need to do all these things manually for it to affect the books. And then all this data can be ready for reporting purposes and making decisions. So ERP gives us a shared database that's the most singular and important feature that every business must know about and must implement. And from there, we can talk about streamlined operations and processes. So our processes are streamlined. We don't need to operate in silos and waste so much of time and effort. Because if the departments are connected and we have shared data, we can operate seamlessly and then collaborate seamlessly. And this all will translate into improved efficiency. And at the end of the day, we'll discover that every business that implements this technology would come up with what we call data-driven insights. every company that implements ERP or have a robust ERP in place would actually make business decisions not on speculation, but on data-driven insights. In that case, you don't take too much risk. You don't take larger risk than necessary. Why? Because your business operations and decisions are backed by what? By data. You have data. And then compliance, improve collaboration, reduction of cost. Let me quickly deal with that issue of compliance. Modern ERP today are compliant, compliance is built into them. So if you want to do business in Europe, for instance, Europe takes GDPR, that's a general data, GDPR, yes, data protection rights very, very seriously and importantly. Okay, so some of these products have been built in such a way that you operate even in the issue of taxing, labor laws, and all. Some of them have been integrated into the software such that you can operate and ensure and be rest assured that you are not flagging or you are not breaking the law, and making sure that you are compliant with the law of the land you're operating on. So ERP ensured compliance. You can use it to manage your CRM. Automation is there, and a whole lot that I'm going to cover in a few more minutes. How has ERP evolved over the years? This is a quick rundown of the history. First, it started with what we call MRP. MRP is Material Requirements Planning. In the 50s, companies like Rolls-Royce, companies like General Electric, they were using ERP. Sorry, they were using MRP, some pen and paper, some already have it computerized. Of course, the most simple computers then, Abacus computers and all those stuff. Because they recognize the need for planning, they recognize the need for scheduling. So they were using these things. But by 1960, an engineer from IBM actually came up with the theory of MRP. He understood the TPS system, that's the Toyota Production System, which of course is the underlying theory for the lean manufacturing. So the IBM engineer understood the TPS and came up with what we call MRP technology. And then IBM also, in conjunction with a company, a tractor company, developed the MRP, and then they started commercializing it. So commercial MRP was in operation in 1960s. But then in the 70s, it was actually improved to include manufacturing processes. So yes, if MRP1, if it can capture inventory, if it can capture schedule lines, then we should be able to use it to plan dependent and independent demands. We should be able to use it to do our BOM, bill of material. We should be able to use it to plan schedule times, So that was manufacturing requirements planning. That's MRP2. Okay. And by 90s, businesses started adopting the technology because it enables scaling, and then it included different parts. No more manufacturing alone now, HR now inclusive sales, capturing research and development, capturing different aspects of a business. And by the 2000s, it's already on the web. That's the .com era, where the internet was the order of the day. And then by 2010, the cloud was born. We have a company called Salesforce, the very first company to actually launch what we call the SaaS offering, software as a service, putting their service on the cloud. And of course, in 2022, we have the fourth industrial revolution. Sorry, in the 20s now, we have the fourth industrial revolution. So ERP is actually important to businesses, and it has evolved over the years from mainframe computers, one big computer handling everything, now to distributed systems. And now we have the cloud. And the projection of revenue has grown according to Statistica. Here we have about 52.3 billion. That's just revenue. And it's meant to grow up to 62 in 2028. So it's a massive, massive industry that is driving business growth and innovations. That's just the ERP. Now, our focus, which is Industry 4.0, I captured it from STEAM to sensors. Now, before I talk about Industry 4.0, which is the fourth industrial revolution, let me quickly run down from the first industrial revolution. The very first industrial revolution was changing manufacturing processes from being driven by man energy and human energy, man, that's human and animal, so what we call steam engines, coal and oil. So we're now using steam engines to power manufacturing. The second industrial revolution focused on, now we already have electricity at that point in time. We're using oil and gas to actually drive production. There was telephone at that point. We have little automation, PLCs, then we're in operation. And the third industrial revolution, which is actually the digital age, the computers were in massive scale. People had laptops. Our factories were actually computerized, digital. But now the focus of Industry 4.0 is actually insight. Insight. So it's just innovation. Industry 4.0 is all about making businesses smarter and more automated, helping our machines to talk to each other, share data, share insights, and humans using those data to make meaningful decisions about company, about businesses, product manufacturing, about sales, about hiring, all right, about asset management. So it's all about making our businesses smarter. SAP has a word for it, called it the intelligent business, making sure that every part of a business is operated based on data. Now, the fourth industrial revolution, technologies and their use cases. Now, this is pivotal to ERP, and that's why I really want to cover these technologies. I hope we can all hear me, and I'm not too fast. The fourth industrial revolution, technologies and their use cases. First is big data. Big data is what it is. Huge amount of data, voluminous data. Data is being generated every day from every part of a business, especially the manufacturing part. Huge amount of data is being generated. And these are data that, if we should leave them to humans, we can swift through this data for years and we'll be able to come up with just little to no meaning from this data because they are very huge. Now, but then technology has made it possible for us to analyze this data. All right, we can analyze them in the cloud and come up with insights from them. Like I mentioned earlier, today, Industry 4.0 is actually about insight. And then how do we get insight? How do we get data first? It's by connected machines. Sensors are in everywhere. Sensors, for even taking, for instance, our home, you have your wristwatch, talk to your phone. Your phone can talk to your television. Your phone can talk to your fridge and all. Likewise, the modern day factory is actually connected with sensors. All the machines can talk to each other and share data. So when we generate this huge amount of data, and this data are taken in real time, they are being sent to the cloud in real time and analyzed. And when we analyze this data, we can come up with insight. Insight like what? Like machine downtime, machine uptime, machine capacity, machine utilization. All right, we can come up with how often does our machine break down. So that will help us to plan properly and say, oh, we don't really need to do, we need to do preventive and maintenance, meaning our machine don't need to break down because we already have a data. And we can say, sometimes ERP can tell you, oh, so time you need to change the belt of this machine. If not, it's going to break. It's going to affect your production and your lines will be down. So because you have data, you can plan ahead, increase your inventory, for instance, service your machine, for instance, get necessary skills, for instance, and all a lot. So that's big data and analytics. IoT, I already explained, it is industrial Internet of Things or the Internet of Everything, like some people say, machines talking to each other. This is used hugely in manufacturing and then in the ERP world. What about digital twins? It's actually a carbon copy or a digital copy of anything. It can be a full facility with all the machines inside. That's digital twins. And businesses or companies use this technology to study complex products, complex machines that Probably you want to train a new worker on some product on a machine that it may be dangerous. You can't just introduce the worker because he's a novice. He or she is a novice. All you do is to create a digital copy of this machine, a CAD model, and then you'll be able to visualize the intricate parts. Probably if you want to tool, you want to repair, whatever it is you want to do, you can do them in the virtual world. And then once the person is trained, they can go to the shop floor to work on the machine real time. Digital twins is one of the pivotal technologies of 4IR, which is Industry 4.0. And then horizontal and vertical integration of systems is just integration of any process, integration of departments of a business. Vertical, horizontal, probably you have 2 production facilities. They need to share data with themselves. And then vertical integrations, departments being integrated with each other, sharing information. For instance, HR have all data stored centrally, and then this data can affect every part of the business. HR storing data centrally is connected to what would I call a timing used for payroll. Members can be paid, employees can be paid. You don't need to do physical calculations. Deductions can be made automatically because it is being integrated with timing. And then if employees are going on leave, do we need more hands, or the capacity we have, is he able to actually produce the amounts that we want for our customers? So all these things are managed centrally. They are interconnected so that organizations can actually move forward and operate seamlessly. We have autonomous robots. I've been privileged to actually research Amazon, which is one of the foremost technology companies. They use autonomous robots in their factory. And of course, this is a company that delivers and sells products worth sometimes maybe 1 billion plus in a day. How do they pick all these orders from the warehouse? How do they know the orders to pick? How do they predict market situations? Sometimes they use autonomous robots. These are robots that are self-sufficient. They can perform a task single-handedly without the intervention of man. They can lift, they can hold heavy equipment, they can work in areas that men cannot naturally work in. And then they are fitted with sensors, and their information are actually transmitted to the cloud in real time. Machine learning and artificial intelligence, also very important technology in the 4IR world. When we get all this data, there are machine learning algorithms in the cloud that can process, analyze them, and come up with, oh, this is consumer behavior. This is how consumers are buying. They are changing behavior. We can anticipate demand at this point in time. At this point in time, we need to cut workers. That's why sometimes companies cut workers, not because they want to do that, but because they've seen that there's no demand, and then they can't continue to hold such huge number of people and be paying them. Then you can also optimize your inventory. You don't hold excess amount of goods in your warehouse when there are no demand for them. They use machine learning and artificial intelligence to actually perform these operations. And the cloud, which I'm still going to explain in much details. Then 3D printing, which is additive manufacturing. As an industrial engineering, this is a technology that really resonates with me. And instead of the technology of subtraction, we used to do machining. You machine a product, you are carving it, you are removing metals, you are subtracting, you are grinding. All those are classified as subtractive manufacturing. But additive manufacturing is 3D manufacturing. It's a type of manufacturing whereby you produce an item by adding layers upon layers, finite layers. How do you do that? You have a product that you want to manufacture. The very first thing is that you have a 3D model. An engineer comes to design the 3D model using CAD software, computer-aided design. And once this is designed, it is broken down into finite layers, very, very small. Just like, what example can I give? Probably an egg. You have an egg, all right? A cooked one. a board one. If you slice it, layers, thin layers, thin layers, thin layers like that. All right, so that's how the product is sliced. A 3D machine or product, whatever it is, can be a facility, can be a building. If you should slice it and feed it into what we call the 3D printer, using laser, the 3D printer will continue to add layers of that thing. If it is a metal, it will be adding layers of it. If it is liquid, layers of it. If it is biomaterials, layers of it. If it is nylon, whatever it is, it will be adding it layers by layers until it finish manufacturing or producing it. And one of the benefits of this technology is that it is fast. It reduces your time to market, and it can be used to manufacture intricate parts, things like turbine engines, intricate parts and delicate parts and engines. You know that ordinarily there's no how to reach their internal organ and internal parts. You use 3D manufacturing. And then, of course, this is a type of manufacturing that there's no dedicated mode for it. So you can change your mind at instant. Oh, I don't want to do this. I want to do it like this. I don't want it to have this shape. And then, of course, it will be achieved because there's no dedicated mode that you need to go and print a mode again. Wow, because it's a technology that is adaptive to any shape whatsoever. Okay, I'm spending a little time here. Augmented reality. I hope we can hear me. I've not lost anyone and nobody has lost me. Augmented reality is also one of the foremost and important technology in the fourth industrial revolution, which has been integrated with enterprise resource planning application. You know, this AR, we've seen people use it in gaming. We've seen it in fashion, entertainment. There are some companies that I know, you want to buy a product, they will tell you, for example, ladies that use makeup. For you to use the makeup, you can test the makeup using AR, using augmented reality. You wear the makeup virtually. If it looks good on you, you buy it. If you don't, if you know, I want to go for another product. A company like IKEA too, a furniture company, you can visualize the piece of furniture in your room. You know, from the AR, you take it to your house, you visualize it in your house. Does it fit it? If it doesn't fit it, you leave it out. But from manufacturing, which is our goal, just like digital twins, this technology is used to actually train. And from research, we've seen that companies have recorded that it has reduced training time by more than 50%. Meaning, if I'm a new person, a new employee that needs to operate a machine or work on any process, I can use augmented reality to understand the process. Because what is AR? It is actually an overlay, overlay of digital information on real world things, probably facility, can be engines, whatsoever it may be. So it's an overlay of digital information on real world. So you wear, it might be a piece of glass, for instance, just like Google Glass or Apple Glass, you wear them, and then all the information you need to perform a task or to operate a machine, it's already in your head. So it's already there. It's visible to your vision. And then just by moving your hand, although you are not touching the real equipment, but from your vision, it's as if you are touching it. And then you have the manual in your head and you are seeing it in your vision. So you are able to learn faster, operate the machine, learn how to repair, learn a lot of things, learn a lot of process. Is an important technology. And then we have cybersecurity. Yes, nefarious actors are becoming smarter, but with all these technologies as well, security is also becoming smarter. It's like a two-horse race. There's no 100% secure. There's no system that's 100% secure. But with the introduction of all these technologies, our systems can become more smarter. We have what we call intrusion prevention system that can prevent intrusion at real time. Some are stateless, some are stateful. All right, so they can analyze trend, analyze traffic based on location. Where is this traffic coming from? Is it coming from China, from India, from anywhere? They can analyze it and then stop, depending on configuration, they can stop attack. Okay, I move away from here. Now, ERP trend and innovations. Trend and innovations in ERP. Cloud is the biggest ERP trend in 2024. cloud computing is this biggest trend of ERP in 2024. And what is actually cloud? Cloud ERP, what is it? Cloud ERP is enterprise resource planning software that is delivered over the internet. It gives companies access to their mission-critical applications at any time, from any location, and offers a near-infinite ability to scale and to innovate. Cloud offers massive opportunities for businesses and for people. It affects our everyday life and is the biggest trend that we can see. So today, I mentioned earlier, cloud ERP are being moved to the cloud. And you see many of these vendors, even the ERP companies themselves, giving incentives, all right, giving credits to organizations that are willing to shift their workload to the cloud. Why? Because the ERP vendors themselves, they are in competition. And that's why you see companies like SAP acquiring companies like Hybris, Concur, what have you, acquiring Success Factors, acquiring Ariba. Why? Because they want to be competitive. So if any company wants to be competitive, the idea at this point in time is to actually shift your product or shift your software solution to the cloud. And I will explain why it is actually very important at this stage. But we've seen that ERP today are actually user experience driven. Unlike before that, the singular goal is to integrate our business processes. But today, it's beyond that. We want the user to have a great experience when they are using the product. As SAP, for instance, a foremost ERP vendor, operates what we call Fury. They invested so much to come up with the Fury, which is actually experience-driven operations. If I'm an end user, for instance, perhaps maybe I'm a finance consultant. I don't need all, the applications before me. I don't need to, to memorize all the transaction codes to actually run or to actually perform my duties as a finance consultant. All I need is the tiles that are available, that are needed for me to perform probably invoicing, invoice verification, probably account reconciliation, and all. Those are the tiles I need. Just like our mobile phone, you see WhatsApp written there, you see gallery, you see YouTube. They are tiles. Even a baby like my 2-year-old daughter can just pick up the phone and she knows, oh, YouTube. She just clicks on it and it opens up. That's how modern ERP are today. They are experience driven. All right. So you just have your applications before you, and then you click on them on the web, and everything opens up. You put in your data or you automate them, and they give you what you need. So they are user experience driven. They are not monolithic. And some of them are conversational, and you can converse with them using natural language, and you can interact. Today, it's very important for us to understand how to interact with machines, because machines are increasingly becoming part of our everyday life. You must be able to converse using natural language, and sometimes using our voice, sometimes using by means of text. And then the machine will be able to perform the task you are giving to it. I will call it prompt engineering, which I'm going to talk about in a minute. Now, digital advisor. Some of this ERP, they can advise you on your spend based on analytics, based on trend of the past 3 months. I envisage that your IT spend is going to be £10,000 in the next 7 months. And then you can plan based on that. Oh, there's an issue of compliance. There's an issue of security with your system. Can you fix these issues? So there are digital advisors that can advise you on how to use the product first, on how to optimize it, on how to get insight from it and use it efficiently. So some of this all happen in the cloud, and that's why cloud is important. And then many of these cloud software integrates with productivity tools like Slack, Teams. You don't need to get out of them to actually do meetings. You can do meetings and schedule meetings right from there. Now, I asked the question, why cloud? I've talked about cloud, but why is it? First, cloud offers what we call low costs, low TCO, low total cost of ownership. And it's one of the advantages of cloud. Every business today, before they can start operation, you need to think about IT. Okay, I want to start a business. I want to offer this type of services. I want to manufacture this type of products. You need to think about IT, because if you want to be competitive, you must be IT driven. So if you are talking about IT, that means you need to acquire servers, you need to buy compute power, you need power on its own, you need IT, you need software, you need a lot of things to start, and then you need a place, you need a data center to actually install all these things together and connect them. But a cloud gives you the ability to spin up these resources in real time, meaning you can get compute power in real time and on demand, you can get networking, you can get memory, you can get huge amount of storage, no matter the amount you need. All right, you can get them. And one of the benefits of SAP, for instance, like as a vendor, as a cloud vendor, is that SAP gives you the freedom to actually choose whatever cloud platform you want, meaning that there's no monopoly to the game. They don't tie you down that, oh, you must use SAP cloud. So you can decide to use Amazon. These are called hyperscalers. So they have a huge amount of internet resources that are delivered to you. You don't need to really have these resources in your on-premise environment. They are on the cloud. So you can get them. You don't need to pay for them before you start business. That's actually the right word. So cloud offers low cost of ownership. So you can start your business and start using IT infrastructure on demand. Another thing is scalability and elasticity. Very important. These days, you see demand increase, probably there is surge in demand, or you need to increase your department, or you need to launch a new line of products. Different things can happen that you need to scale your business. And if you need to scale, you need to scale your IT infrastructure as well, meaning you need to go and start buying. But if you use the cloud, for instance, there's no issue with scalability because there's huge amount of resources, like I mentioned earlier, that you can actually take advantage of. And then there's elasticity as well. The difference between elasticity and scalability is that scalability, you do it manually. Oh, I have a surge in business. I need maybe more 100 RAM, and then manually you increase it. But if it is elastic, if you have customized it as such, naturally the system will just add that amount of RAM required to it. If it is compute power, the same thing. If it is storage, the same thing. So different scenarios of business can be handled effectively in the cloud. And I want to give a quick example. For instance, I know, let's take the issue of maybe JAMB, for instance, Joint Admission Matriculation Board of Nigeria. They conduct the exam every year, and it is not throughout the year. So meaning that their resources or their infrastructure don't receive large amount of traffic throughout the year. So in such a business, for instance, such an organization, not a business, would have huge benefits in the cloud, because if you have huge amounts of investments on IT and then you don't get to use these resources often, you don't use it up to 50% capacity throughout the year, and it's just maybe 1 or 2, 3 months in the whole year that you have capacity up to 80%, then it means that your investment in IT is wasting at that point in time because you are tying down resources. But if your resource or your software or your applications are actually in the cloud, you can scale down when there's no high demand, and then you can scale up when there's high demand. All right. And there's elasticity, as I explained earlier. Take an example like Netflix, for instance. Netflix, as we know it, don't have a single data center. If you can check it out if you want. But Netflix can put movies in your phone. They can stream movies to your phone, to your tablet on demand. You need this movie, you watch it. And even at the time of coronavirus, that many people were at home, that a lot of people were now watching movies, going online and all. Netflix did not have problems saying, oh, we need to buy more servers now, we need more resource, we need more IT personnel. No, those things are not there. Because why? They can easily scale in cloud. Netflix uses AWS, which is Amazon Cloud Services, Web Services. So there's on-demand resources, and businesses can benefit from this in large scale. It's a massive place of opportunity. There's faster deployments. Today, if you want to implement any product, any ERP products, sometimes it takes 2 years. The current project I'm working on, I met them on it. It's been 2 years plus, still implementing. But if you want to do cloud, if you want to go on cloud, sometimes in 4 months, you are done. SAP can actually do that for you. In 4 months, 6 months, your infrastructure, your cloud infrastructure is ready, your ERP is ready in the cloud, depending on the scale of your business. So there's faster deployments. And if there's faster deployment, it means that there's faster product to market cycle. You can quickly develop your products and put them in the market, and then you can benefit from it. Then there's real-time insights. SAP as a company does what we call, they have a database that we call S4HANA, which is an in-memory computing application. A database, the natural application or the traditional way of computing is when computing needs to happen, resources are being taken from the disk, transferred to the CPU, processed, and saved back, read and write. But what HANA does for you, the HANA database, is that it stores the frequently accessed data in RAM. So there's a massive amount of RAM in there that the frequently accessed data are processed in real time. I know Dr. Dedaro taught me something called OLTP and OLAP, online analytical transactions, that this happens using the help of in-memory computing. All right, so analytics becomes so much fast and such that perhaps you already have this data, and then maybe more sales came in, more data came in through IoT or through different sources of data. You don't need so much time. In real time, those data can be added to your collection and analyzed in real time such that you have insight again. So you have data on the fly. You can make decisions on the fly. That's the benefit of real-time analytics using in-memory computing from HANA. And I know there are some other companies that actually have that as well. Then there's flexibility and extensibility. You can extend so much. Businesses today are unique. You don't need to tie one organization down that, oh, you already have cloud ERP in the market and that's all. No, there's customization. There's need for uniqueness in business. That's why there's extensibility. And then there's security and reliability. These companies invest huge amounts in their cloud infrastructure. SAP does that, Amazon, Google, Microsoft Azure, such that there's high security. If you operate on-premise, for instance, you have your own infrastructure, SAP as a company will deliver patches. That means updates to your software to patch security vulnerabilities once a year. But if you're not in cloud, if you're in cloud, it is done twice a year. And sometimes you can't even beg it because these patches will happen automatically. And it will patch your system to ensure that you are free from security. And there's reliability because these companies have data centers everywhere, every place that matters in the globe, every region. So if my data is replicated in 2 to 3 parts, for example, if I'm operating, I have data in Africa, I have data in Europe, I have data in North America. Even if there's earthquake and I lose a whole region, my data can be recovered as soon as possible. That's the advantage of the cloud. You can never lose your data. It is on a very rare occasion. There's compliance. Businesses today deals with compliance a lot because privacy law, finance laws, different type of law exist and regulations that companies need to adhere to make sure that they are not fined heavily by government entities. So if I want to operate, if I have a business today and I want to operate in, maybe I live in Africa, but I want to do business in Europe, all right? And the law in Europe says that data generated in Europe, privacy data generated in Europe of people cannot be stored outside Europe. How do I do it? I don't need to come from Africa to buy physical infrastructures in Europe to do that. I can simply host my applications, my ERP and databases. I can just host them in cloud infrastructure in the region called Europe. I can do that. So these companies have regions everywhere. You can host in China. You can host it in America, depending on the regulations that you need to comply with. So it helps in compliance in so many ways. And it is mobile. There's continuous innovation. Now I'll talk about Nestle. I'll talk about Nestle ERP transformation. How has Nestle been able to transform their ERP? This is a company that stayed for 156 years. And for that type of company to remain in the forefront of innovation and for their product to still be relevant in the market, they need to embrace change. And that's one of the things that their CIO said. And this is a company that has over 2,000 brands, 1 billion plus products sold daily, 275,000 employees in 188 countries. How has cloud ERP transformed their business? First, what technology did Nestle? What technology are they using? They use SAP S/4HANA Cloud. They use what we call SAP Analytics Cloud, an applications that is data-driven and insight-driven. It analyzes your data and gives them to you as stories. You can check them and make decisions on them. And then it uses what we call SAP Commerce Cloud. So how has it benefited them? It's eliminated 10,000 servers and 9 data centers. This is huge. This is huge investment. This is huge savings. This is huge cost savings. You eliminate 10,000 servers, 9 data centers. They were able to move 1,200 petabytes of data to the cloud, stored and secured, 99.97% uptime, system recovery from 6 hours plus to 7 minutes. It happened only by cloud ERP. So now if they have to build an application, they can do that 10 times faster with business technology platform of SAP. And then their managers can collaborate and automate 95% task of performance review. And then their HR can cut up to 70% processes in hiring process. Then they have 90% cost in processing time. These are massive gains for the business that can only be possible with a robust ERP in place. And that is why people are actually shifting to the cloud. Now, what are sorry, permits me. Okay, so evolving roles of ERP professionals. Roles have been evolving over time. We have extensibility and integration consultants now. We have what we call human ERP interaction analysts now. People that are doing migration, system architects, cybersecurity, compliance. People that can integrate IoT with ERP and developers, process analysts, and a whole lot. And then the roles are changing because what you need to do earlier are not the things you are doing now. A finance consultant, for instance, don't need to do invoice again, do reconciliation because these things are done automatically. What do you need to focus on now? Insights, analysis to make financial decisions. The roles are changing, but what are the skills required for them? The skill set of modern ERP professionals. You need to understand business integration. How does sales affect finance? How does sales affect production? How does sales affect research and development? What is the effect of research and development on sales? There's feedback. You need to understand how the different parts of the business interact if you want to be a professional in the ERP market. If you understand that, you'll be able to improve the processes. You'll be able to streamline them. Even though we say these systems are automated, they are actually configured. They are very flexible. You configure them. If you don't understand the process, you can't configure. You can't do anything automation. And prompt engineering, that's the science of being able to instruct machines clearly on what to do and for them to do it appropriately. Cloud technology, which I've explained earlier, data analysis and business intelligence. I think this is very major in today's world of ERP because it's all about data and how to better use them. If you don't use data, you take more risk and then you lose money. That's just it. You need to understand database management, simple SQL query. You need to understand problem solving. You should be agile in adapting to change because technology is changing. What are the skills? How do you skill and how do you reskill? Use training programs. There are many programs, cloud computing programs that trains on fundamental of ERP today. data analytics for cloud, IoT and all. There are micro-learning platforms. There are industry certifications that we can pursue. I know of SAP for cloud, meaning that, oh, if you want to implement, you want to be a professional that implements SAP on cloud, I said earlier, because SAP can be implemented on SAP cloud or any other cloud, or any other public vendor. There is a certification for that. Pursue public certifications, and these certifications, they give some room for hands-on learning. Get a mentor, peer learning. The collaboration of academia and industry partnership can help us on skill. Vendor provided training. Some of these vendors have their dedicated training. Get to industry events and conferences, support them, attend. That's how to skill and reskill or upskill. Then subscription to industry publications. Now, what are the challenges and solutions to modern day adoption of ERP in cloud? The biggest one is actually the choice of technology and its stability. There's so much uncertainty in some organizations. Some managers are saying, okay, which technology do we actually take? Are they really stable now? Can we implement them? And then the skill gap in terms of implementation, there's still a real shortage of skills out there. I read a publication the other day on Forbes about a massive shortage gap in SAP skills in Europe, in America, a massive shortage. So there's skill gap both in implementation and both in users. Because if you implement a new technology now, users need to use it. There's skill gap. Then there's resistance. Sometimes users don't want to leave their legacy system. They don't want to leave established routines of doing business. They don't want to learn new things because sometimes it takes time and a lot of things. And sometimes managers have the risk of, what if we don't have our ROI? What if these projected are they're just unrealistic, these projected returns on our investments? And then security issues and access control, and then data migrations and overwhelming huge data. How do we make sense of the data collected? How do we migrate our system, actually migrate our data to the cloud if we eventually choose this technology? And one of the ways to solve it is actually change management. Change management is actually a strategic move to guide, to help users understand, to help them adopt a technology and actually transition properly. It is in this phase that you actually understand and identify people that would resist the technology. And then you use a strategy to help them understand, to adopt it. Because if a technology is not being used properly, the investment is actually a waste because you will not be able to get your ROI back. And then even if users are using it, but they are not using it effectively, if they are boycotting the process, it will not deliver the necessary value. User training, continuous training, implement what we call GRC, governance, risk, and control. These are solutions to the problems. Implement security best practices, okay? Because some people are afraid of security risk. SAP, for instance, have what we call segregation of duties. There should be segregation of duties in an organization. I should not be the only one to be able to create an invoice and to approve it. If that's the case, then I can create a fake vendor and then create a fake account, create an invoice and approve it, get a huge sum of money, and then I leave the country. So there's segregation of duties. All these are part of GRC and implementing security best practices, such that if I be the one to create an invoice, another person should be the one person to approve it. If I'm the person that will create a user, somebody else should be the one to give authorization. So a user should be able to have authorization to only his own job roles and nothing else. Use the cloud to your advantage. Then machine learning and data normalization engines are being used these days to clean up data and derive a lot of insights from them. Who are the biggest players in the modern ERP markets? These are them: SAP, Oracle, and the rest of them, Sage, and all. So way forward, I said technology is not the enemy. It is not taking our job. It is people who have learned to use it. If you understand properly, you will see that people that are cloud engineers today, they are cloud architects, they are DevOps engineers, they are SAP consultants, Many of them actually started as IT support. Some of them are system administrators, but they learn to embrace modern technology and use it, and then they are in the place they are today. It's just like the same way an accountant would be almost unemployable if he cannot use a ERP system. If you cannot use ERP to do invoice, if you cannot use ERP to do accounts receivable, accounts payable, reconcile accounts, then why am I hiring you as an accountant? So we must learn to embrace change, embrace technology. So my final thought, automation is not replacing ERP professionals, no. It is actually elevating their role. By embracing these changes and developing the necessary skill sets, every professional can become strategic partners within the organizations, leveraging the power of automation to drive business growth and operational excellence. All right, thank you. That's the end of the short lecture. Now I will anticipate questions.
Okay, thank you so much. Anyway, I'm not expecting anything less. When we talk about ERP, we're talking about the live wire of many companies. So before question and answer, because I know there is a lot that come from people, I want Chairman, Professor Adetunji, to say one or two things about the lecture, please. Professor.
Thank you so much, Dr. Redairo and Engineer Ikoroje, for a very illuminating and detailed presentation. Thank you for sharing your experience with us. And thank you to the listeners that every one of us is still online. I believe it's because it's beneficial. I particularly am happy for the discussion that our lecturer gave us in terms of the importance of integration of our processes using the enterprise system and integration of the master data and everything that is necessary so that the organization can work together. The main phrases that areas that he talked about at the beginning immediately, data-driven insights, compliance and risk prevention, particularly GRC, governance, and security, are key issues that I think will be very important for me, particularly as many of us look forward to our country, Nigeria, taking a rightful place. Particularly that we also have the DG from NITDA, represented by our able Dr. Bakari here, because I know they give a lot of advice to the government, and I know they also know this, that the ERP has a lot that it could do to help our country, especially as we battle corruption and many things, so that the country can utilize its resources to the advantage of the citizens. I was discussing with someone, I said, if only we have ERP in Nigeria, I can tell you close to 80% of our corruption loopholes will be blocked, because we can enforce compliance on the system and block many of the risk spots for embezzlement and everything. It might cost us money to invest, but I know it will change what our country is completely. Because one of the things I've seen all over the world is human beings are all the same. Everywhere, white, black, green, purple. The only thing that happens is systems make it impossible for people to do what is not right, because you know you will be caught. Before I left the country, I first worked briefly for the government, and then I worked in the bank before I left. The difference between the two institutions is just the system. When I was working for the government, because that speaks aptly to what our lecturer was saying, we used to move around what we call transit register. I don't know whether they still use it. It's one register like this that you will use to be tracking everything you want to do from place to place. Then somebody is looking for that register. After they have signed and approved the money, sometimes you don't know where the register is before you found it. And I said, automatically, this system encourages people to steal. If we decided only to say, put everything on the system, create authorizations, block roles that are not possible, that you don't want people to do, 80-90% of corruption in Nigeria will stop. And I'm hoping, because I know that our um our directors from government institutions, particularly from NIDA, they are very familiar with this. I'm hoping, and I know you must have been trying, but it might be very difficult in the system. I'm hoping that you will make effort to convince our government and push them that take all these processes that we are pushing with paper away. The money we will save from that one alone will pay for the investment in ERP system 50 times over. And we will unlock a lot of prosperity in the country. Because when people know that they can't just take the money without being found, they will think 3 times before they steal. So thank you so much for this lecture. So ideally today, in today's world, I believe ERP is not just the backbone of companies anymore. It's the backbone of countries. I live in South Africa. The city of Cape Town, where Professor Seymour is lecturing in UCT, is the first city in South Africa to implement SAP to manage their system since around 2000. It's one of the best managed cities in South Africa today. In fact, when somebody came from Germany and was giving us a case study, he said Cape Town is one of the best run cities in the world, not only in South Africa, and it's because they adopted the technology. As of today now, most other cities in South Africa have also adopted SAP. City of Joburg has adopted it. City of Pretoria has adopted it. City of Ekurhuleni has adopted it. Many other people have adopted it to say, put all the system. As soon as the city of Pretoria adopted it, many people that have been hiding and not paying their rates, paying rent, stealing money, everything was thrown up immediately. They can start recovering their money. If we simply do that in Nigeria, 80-90% of our corruption loopholes are blocked. So thank you for the presentation. So we need it not just for the business, we need it for the country. And I'm looking forward to hearing good news about what our directors from government institutions, particularly NISDA, given the specific role that they have in helping us to push the country forward, will also encourage our government to take this path. Because many of us are so proud of our country and we are looking forward to this. Thank you, Professor Ladoku, for this arrangement and every other people from the University of Ibadan. This is my homecoming also, like the presenter has said. I am very grateful for the opportunity to be here and thank you for having me. God bless you.
Thank you so much, Prof. I know you are passionate about Nigeria and ERP, so I was expecting that. Thank you so much. Because of our time, we're actually supposed to finish, but I know that you can't give this kind of lecture without people asking questions. So first of all, I want to apologize. I could see just 18 slides, but I knew he used more than 50, up to 1 hour, because they were actually worth it. So questions, please. I have questions, 2 questions, but if there are questions, please, you can raise your hand, maybe 1 or 2, then with my 2, so that we can ask, we just have to ask him questions. Questions from the audience? Okay, all right. Before I could see anyone, 2 questions, Engineer Ikoroje. Number 1, my question is this: how well has the ESEVA program prepared you for this journey? I know you went through the YPP. You started all with ESEVA. I remember 2017. Like this, like that. How well has it prepared you? Does it match up? Does it give you the the foundation that you need? Because now I could see, in fact, I'm looking at you up there, so many things you are serious. You are now, an expert. But can you answer that question? How well has ESEVA prepared you? Hello? Can you hear me?
All right, thank you, sir. I was having a little challenge there. You said, how much has the ESEVA program prepared me?
Yeah, how well, yes.
Okay, I hope everybody can hear me. So,
yes,
I in my citation, I actually put it there that the ability for me to deliver the lecture today is actually tied to the inspiration I got from my lecturers. The ESEVA program, even though at that point in time we're actually undertaking it didn't, yes, I knew that I really want to do this, but then I can't really connect the dots, just like the the quotes that Dr. Diary gave before the lecture started, but now I can connect it. I think the program has actually given me a great foundation for a career in SAP. The truth is, I gained admission to YPP, but when I got into YPP, the fundamentals of whatever they were teaching in S4HANA were already covered in the SEFA, and they were already covered in the Tech 10 program I did. That was why I was like the class captain, if you can call it that way, in the YPP program, because our trainers were from South Africa then, and from the different integration of business processes, I understand the whole circle of procurement, I understand the circle of sales, I understand the circles of manufacturing. You know, I could answer many of the questions, and I really led the program, and I was there preparing all the students for exams. And when I came out, when I finished that program, actually, I got a job with SAP Nigeria, actually. I got a job, but I couldn't do it because I was already leaving and planning to leave for the UK. Even though, yes, I accepted the program initially and felt, oh, let me just do it for these few months before I leave. But I feel it will not be very proper if I just leave like that, and the opportunity should actually be given to someone else. So I have the email, you know, in me, congratulations, because I was like one of the best in that program. I got a job to start training with SAP Nigeria, SAP West Africa, sorry, because I was to be the assistant of the sales architect who lives in Nigeria. So I can say that the SFA program prepared me properly, and our lecturers did a great job, and they invested so much in us on that period, and we just put in a little amount because the program was subsidized. And I want to encourage everyone out there, probably the penultimate students now in 400 level, to embrace, if the program is still actually available, to embrace it, because it is full of value.
All right, okay, let's take the question. I can see Dr. Ayodele Bakari hands up. Sir, yeah, you can mute yourself, sir.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Obadairo. Hope everyone can still hear me properly.
Yes, we can.
Yes.
Okay, so mine is just, some comments. And before I start with the comments, I also want to join Professor Adetunji in appreciating our guest speaker. That is Mr. Fidelis Ikoroje, for an insightful, detailed, and educated presentation. I really learned a lot, and I'm sure that most of us here, also has learned a lot. So I will be coming, from the perspective of adoption, and also to ensure that we also homegrow ERP solutions. Like I mentioned earlier, NIDA is basically set up, for three things. That is to regulate information technology in Nigeria, and also develop information technology, and also provide advisory on how organizations, the government, and also individuals, can use IT to improve their lives, and also, be as prosperous. So having said all this, it's also very important, to also recall that I mentioned that my role as the head of the Digital Technology Development Division is to see to the increased adoption of digital technologies, either by government organization, private organizations, or even individual. And that also involves ERP. But just like you mentioned, in your presentation, there are impediments, to the achievement of the intentions of government. Government is an enabler, and government cannot unilaterally help, achieve, the utilization of digital technologies for economic prosperity. Rather, it should be a collective effort from the government, from the private sector, and the academia, to see how we can derive, gains of the adoption of information as in technology, or digital as in technologies. Like you mentioned in your presentation, there are challenges. And out of the challenges that you mentioned, in my over 24 years of experience in the IT field, I can say 3 of them, or 4 of them rather, stands out. That is the costs of acquisition of an ERP, or most, modern digital technologies. Then another challenge is the poor capacity building. Most of the organizations, especially government, do not have access to the right capacity development, when it comes to ERP and other digital technologies. Then change management. Even if you provide a training, you spend the amount, required to acquire digital technologies. Change management is also an issue. And like you rightly mentioned, these are strategies you put into place to help with the adoption and also the adaption of digital as in technologies. Then finally, data migration and conversion is also an issue. I've been to so many organizations where they have the will to implement ERP or other digital technologies, but their problem is in the conversion. They are afraid of migrating as in data. So why am I saying all this? I'm saying all this so that both professionals in the industry and also professionals in academia, must come together, to see how we can solve these problems, especially in the area of as in challenges. Additionally, we also need to look at putting strategies for home-growing digital technologies. And like you mentioned in your presentation, ERP software market revenue is projected to reach 52.33 billion by 2024. We are in 2024 right now. And if we ask ourselves, out of this amount that has been projected for 2024, how much of it, has come to as a Nigeria? And this can only come to Nigeria when all and sundry, come together, to see how we can also home grow this technology. I had the same conversation with a very top SAP manager. I think he's one of the top SAP managers for Africa in one event that I was in as a Lagos, organized by as GIZ. That strategies should be put into place, and government alone cannot do this. Government is there to put in policies to provide enabling environment, for technologies to be used, in an effective as a manner. But it also lies on other sectors of the economy. That is talking about the private sector, talking about the academia, to also, come together to ensure that, we solve this as a problem. Another area that we may also be facing, or problem we may be facing, is the issue of data localization. Because I know that you mentioned, that one of the trends in ERP is cloud ERP. So when you talk about cloud ERP, another issue from my experience is data localization, because we have different laws, on data localization to ensure that government data are deployed or stored within the geographical, locations of as a Nigeria. So I just felt it's important that we ponder more, on these issues, to help ensure that, yes, as we are preaching the adoption of ERP or other digital technologies, we should also be thinking of the way forward, to ensure that, we realize our intention. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for your comment from policy, angle. Yes, and that's why yeah, need that. So policy angle. Thank you so much. Quite good thoughts. Questions before I said I have 2 questions. Do you have any other questions from the audience, please? Questions? Okay. Questions? All right. Okay. All right. Okay. Our lecturer, one other thing that is important, where I looking forward to, is the last part of that title, the evolving role of professionals. I know you are in the field. By 2027, December, SAP is stopping support for the legacy systems, the ERP, the ECC, the business suite. You almost move on to S/4HANA. And one issue, because I read the report from PricewaterhouseCoopers, they mentioned 2 key problems to what has happened. Only 25% has migrated, 25% of ERP vendors, SAP. And 2 key problems is, number one, the time they plan to move is more than that. So I would say project management. That means you were expected to move 2 months, you are using 5 years. But the second key, that was 39%. The second key was skills. Everybody said there are no skills at all. All the companies said that they are finding difficult to get the skills, so they either do reskilling or upskilling again for people. That is where I'm now coming in. What advice will you give? Because post 2027, there is going to be a lot of, as you said it too, the market is so big for ERP professionals. The source too big. The skills are, nobody is having the skills. So what advice will you give a student? A student, just like, casting back your mind, 2018, 2017. What advice will you give a student to look
All right,
forward
thank you
to,
so much, sir. So
to do this thing? Yes.
the advice I would give to a student is to actually recognize and see that there's massive opportunity in the enterprise resource planning markets. And then for the student to actually find his or her place in it. Because whatever you studied in school, and of course, industrial and production engineering students have a great advantage because it's as if it is core. ERP is as if it is core to our department. Because I could remember my very first lecture with Dr. Dedairo, that is also the moderator today. That is the first place we had about ERP, which is TI, I think 413, production and inventory system design. We started learning AOC, we started learning economic order quantity and all. So every student should actually embrace this technology first by learning. And how do you learn? In the slide, which I also dropped in the chat, I said that many of all these organizations, they are providing free training to people. For example, SAP, for instance, have what we call, you can learn the whole of S4HANA for free, just the fact that you will not be able to do certification. And of course, departments like Industrial and Production Engineering have the program ESEFA on board. So these are programs that students can actually adopt and accept to train themselves. And the fact that they are also very experience-driven, and then they are hands-on driven, because you are going to be working with systems. So you understand the basis of ERP before you even join. If you understand the basis of ERP like that, then I think that you can be easily integrated. If you are asked, oh, how does this program integrate with another? How does this business process integrate with another? And you can explain. SAP is already fine with you to train you and then to provide the certifications for free. Most of the certifications I did that they were for free. Why? Because I actually got the fundamentals from the department, and then from there, SAP took it up to train me. So I think that we should embrace any form of training that we see, if it is from the department, from online, from mentors, from LinkedIn, just everywhere. Look for training, get the basic training that will help you advance and project your career to the world.
All right, thank you. So just before you go, any final comments, any final thoughts, final remarks before Dr. Idem will give us the vote of thanks? Yeah, final comments. Yes.
Final comment is just to say a very big thank you to all my lecturers, honestly. Dr. Idem, I didn't even check that, I didn't even know that he's around. Dr. Dedairo, Professor Ladokun, and you all are doing so great things, and you're changing lives, I can say. And not just in our department. I invited my friend, unfortunately he's not here. You've also touched the life of many other departmental guys. My friend Osaze currently is also doing CRM with is a senior consultant with Deloitte in London, right? But was not able to make it. So you've changed our lives, and I think you are still continuing doing it. So I think just keep up the good work. And for all industrial and production engineering students, please, let's embrace IPE with our full force and full chest, because it's a life-changing
Thank
program.
you,
Everyone.
thank you.
God
Thank
bless
you
you.
so much. Thank you for your time. Thank you for this wonderful opportunity, to hear from you, to actually connect the dots looking backwards now. So we're actually connecting it and then looking backwards now. And then I will call on Dr. Eden for the vote of thanks.
Yes. Okay, so thank you so much. I hope I am being heard.
Yes.
Good evening, everyone.
Can you unmute yourself, please?
So, all right. So am I being heard now?
Yes, yes.
Sorry about that. So it's a privilege to be here this evening and to express the gratitude of the collective. And by that, I mean the Industrial and Production Engineering departments, organizers of this program. Our chairperson, Professor Olufemi Adetunji of the University of Pretoria, South Africa. Thank you so much for accepting our invitation and being able to chair this occasion. We really appreciate you. Much more so for myself because you are my teacher too. So I actually learned my SFR through you. I think, and of course, SAP as well. I was able to get certified through your teaching. So I guess it's a cascadence of that knowledge that is just filtering through the department to our students as well. So I really appreciate that. Thank you for coming. Our thanks is also extended to our special guest of honor, Mr. Kashifu Abdullahi, the DG NIDA, ably represented by Dr. Ayodele Bakare. We appreciate you so much, so wholeheartedly for finding time, despite your tight schedule, to be available with us today. So thank you so much. Our guest of honor, Professor Liz Sasemo, Chair, SFR Academic Board. Thank you so much. We appreciate your coming. We appreciate your efforts. We appreciate your support, for our SFR and SAP programs and related activities here in the University of Ibadan. So we thank you so much. Our brilliant lecturer and alumnus, Fidelis Ikoroje, thank you so much. I really enjoyed your talk today. Thank you for sharing your wisdom. We really appreciate that. All your, you accepted our invitation, and it's not the first time. We thank you for your preparation and presentation of this lecture today. I really believe that everyone in attendance today have taken one or two things from your lecture, and we really thank you. I want to say that the Department of Industrial and Production Engineering is most proud of you for, your great strides so far, and we know we can always count on you to hit our call whenever we need, a shade of your value and to give us a bit of your know-how and experience as you continue to show in your chosen field of endeavor. Thank you so much for sharing your wisdom with us. Also, our alumnus, our alumni, our shining stars, constituent of the Industrial and Production Engineering Alumni Association, you deserve a special mention for your relentless efforts and support of the progress of this department, and by extension, the Faculty of Technology and the University of Ibadan at large. We appreciate you so much. We will not also forget to give a big thank you to our moderator, Dr. B.O. Dedairo, our indefatigable moderator. Thank you for keeping this special alumni series lively, engaging, and interactive. Also, my gratitude goes to Antonio Moni for agreeing to read the citation of our guest speaker. I also want to specially thank the hosts and organizers of this program, dogged and HOD, Professor Ladokun, and members of the organizing committee, our fathers in the house that have been, behind the scene, effort, they gave a lot of effort behind the scene to be able to make this occasion a very successful one. Thank you for continually making it a success. To our participants and audiences, from the industry, our colleagues from the academia as well. I did have a peek at the, participants. I noticed Professor D.F. Fadare, the HOD Automotive Engineering Department of the Faculty of Technology, University of Ibadan, was in attendance throughout. I want to say thank you so much for attending. Dr. O.O. Kunribudo of the Health and Safety Science and Research Center. Thank you so much. Of course, you are a part of us, so I really appreciate your continual support and everything you have been, for us in the Department of Industrial and Production Engineering. Engineer Folabi Babarinsa as well. I noticed you were also in the house, so thank you so much for attending. Thank you for finding the time to be here tonight, and I believe that you had a worthwhile experience. And also, lastly, to everyone else that I may have not been able to recognize you or I was unable to mention your name. Thank you so much. You are truly special. All our participants, our audiences, I really appreciate your coming. Thank you.
Hey, thank you so much, Dr. Ede. I think we'll be calling it a quit now. And I want to appreciate everybody once again for our time. Yes, for our time. And then hopefully we will come together for the May edition. The May edition is coming up by May 10. Yes, I think I'm right, May 10. So let's come together again for our next alumni meeting. So thank you so much, and have a great evening. So bye for now. Yes, thank you.
All right, bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Azama. Grateful. So Bakari, thank you
so
for
much.
soliciting.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, good night. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you for the great presentation. We love you.
Yeah, thank you,
Good
Engineer.
night.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank
Yeah,
you,
we
engineer.
bless God. We bless God for your lives. Thank you.
Thank
Cheers.
you, everyone.
Bye-bye.
See you,
Yeah.